Happy Saturday, Internet. You can come out of hiding. Look, there ain't no denying that as hard as you're trying, you're lying to yourself if you think you can avoid the noise and the toys and your boys and the shit that's constantly flying, but it's the info you need that I'm supplying, so get to smiling. This is The Loop. Retail giant Costco is under fire this week after an undercover investigation by the Humane Society of the United States revealed that Hillandale Farms, a massive chicken farm that provides eggs for Costco's Kirkland banner, has forced its hens to live in horrific conditions, including cramped cages that may contain the dead, decaying, or mummified bodies of other chickens. A lone Humane Society member infiltrated Hillandale Farms and over the course of a month captured damning photographic and video evidence of the animals' treatment and discovered that each Hillandale worker is responsible for some 250,000 chickens, making it nigh impossible to care for them all or remove the bodies of the dead. Each chicken lives in a space smaller than an average 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. These conditions also have huge health implications for humans as well, as the conditions are proven to raise the risk of salmonella poisoning in eggs. In fact, it was a Hillandale facility that led to a salmonella outbreak in the past that infected more than 1,600 people and led to the recall of 500 million eggs. Hopefully this will be the final nail in the coffin for a company whose practices are beyond monstrous. Staggering news out of the United Nations this week after the Associated Press discovered a report that transactional sexual exploitation is significantly underreported on UN peacekeeping missions around the world. The Office of Internal Oversight Services crafted the report, intended for release later this month, that looked into the some 125,000 people who work for the UN as global peacekeepers. Among the shocking findings are interviews with more than 225 Haitian women who exchanged sexual favors for food and medicine because they were told that this was the only way that they could receive them. Nearly 1/3 of the alleged sexual abuse involved minors under the age of 18, and victim assistance is, quote, severely deficient. Airlines from around the globe have passed a sweeping new guideline demanding smaller carry-on bags from passengers who have been avoiding checked baggage fees as high as $25 per bag per flight since the fees were implemented back in 2008. However, don't toss your luggage quite yet, as the guideline is not binding and can vary from airline to airline. Confused yet? Let me explain. The International Air Transport Association's new optimal carry-on is 21.5 inches tall by 13.5 inches wide by 7.5 inches deep. In centimeters, that's 54.61 by 34.29 by 19.05. This is a 21.4% decrease in size for each bag. To make matters worse for consumers, every airline has their own personal guidelines for baggage size, meaning that even if your bag is small enough to meet international guidelines, some airlines might still charge you to check it. At the Vatican, Pope Francis has approved the creation of a tribunal to try and punish bishops who have covered up child abuse by pedophiliac priests in the Catholic Church. This move is the first of its kind in church history and follows years of bad press and pressure from both survivors groups and the UN. Pope Francis has publicly called child abuse a moral damage carried out by the men of the church in past interviews, and his decision to form a tribunal could change the face of the faith. The concept, drafted by the Pope's 17-member Commission on Sexual Abuse, could also hold bishops accountable for failing to prevent abuse from taking place at all, even if they had no idea that such abuse was occurring under their watch. The name of the game now for Catholicism, it seems, is oversight. Tech guru Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla Motors and SpaceX, wants to change how the world accesses the internet. SpaceX formally asked permission this week to build a massive constellation of 4,000 satellites around the world that can beam the internet anywhere, and I mean anywhere on the planet, even in its most remote regions. The plan was revealed back in January by Musk, though the formal request was not put in until now. The idea is that SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket would enter Earth's orbit, then release a massive fleet of satellites at key points around the globe. The request asks for permission to attempt a small trial so that SpaceX can determine the strength of its antenna technology. If all goes well, those tests will be underway next year, with global internet in operation by 2020. And finally, what did people love in media this week? In music, Florence and the Machine topped the Billboard 200 with the new album How Big, How Blue, How Beautiful. On the iTunes TV charts, Pretty Little Liars won the crown in episodes downloads, while The Real Housewives of Orange County won in season downloads. And at the box office, Melissa McCarthy's Spy came in at #1 with a respectable $29 million gross, followed by San Andreas and Insidious Chapter 3. And that's everything that you need to know about your world this week. Just so you know, this week's episode of The Loop was taped on Thursday morning as I'm heading out of town for my sister's graduation. If there are any stories that break between Thursday and Saturday, they'll be covered next week. Thank you for understanding. So this weekend, when you're deciding between white and brown rice with your order of Chinese food, remember that you're already full on knowledge, because until next Saturday, you're in The Loop. I'm Matt Lieberman. Thanks for watching.
Give me the drive, Raina. Those awesome new apparel designs belong to the people.
Never!
I do not use the PB Hall.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh, but
Everybody's uncle.
It's funny that you mentioned how we've been recognized in public. Steve and I yesterday went to the Habit.